Tonight's show has been brought to you by One Taste of Main Street Cake Shop, baked from scratch, custom-made cakes and cupcakes, and you'll be hooked. Every cake is made to order with only the finest and freshest ingredients. This is no ordinary bakery. Cakes are never pre-made. Main Street Cake Shop is in demand, having provided cakes and cupcakes for numerous prestigious events, bridal fairs, and venues. Owned and operated by April Murray, she has garnered many awards for not only her exquisite cake designs, but also for their incredible taste. If you're looking for a cake for any occasion, or cupcakes in a variety of flavors, then Main Street Cake Shop is the place. Visit them on the web at mainstreetcakeshop.com.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Take Two Radio. I'm Pam, your host, and with me tonight, of course, I have my lovely co-host, Dawn. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm very excited because of our guest tonight, and I know that I've been getting a lot of tweets and a lot of Facebook messages and wherever social media can get from. Everybody's excited. Tonight, we welcome the wonderful and sometimes scary Cynthia Preston. Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, she doesn't sound so scary right now, does she?
No. You got to be charming before you kill people.
Yeah.
That's true. You got to kind of worm your way in, you know?
Yes, lull them into a false sense of security. Everything will be just fine.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I happen to be looking at some videos that Enrique, one of the guys that follows me, and I follow him on Twitter, he was tweeting out with your scenes from General Hospital. And when you just said that now, it reminded me of the time that you were with Ned, and you just finished making love, and he was going to leave, and you're like, you shoot at him, and you're like, you're not going to say goodbye?
Right. Oh, you're going way back to the very, very beginning to, my first tryst on the show. Yeah. Lovely Wally. Yeah, no, that was good. The writers were phenomenal. I mean, really, Faith was the best character. She was so well written. She was
my God.
a psychopath, but it was really good. Like, I loved the scene in the church where I'm crying because I've killed my grandmother.
Yeah.
Saying, you made me do it. It's your fault. If you'd just given me the money. I'm crying, real tears. Like I thought that was so well written. I was very impressed.
It was. And, you know, you were so believable that when I said you were coming to the show, I said you were the baddest woman of daytime with no heart. You were, you just walked around doing whatever you wanted to do and taking whatever you wanted to take or taking whoever you wanted to take. So, oh, my gosh. It was phenomenal.
She acted like a man, which I loved.
Yeah,
I loved that about her.
Exactly like a man.
Yeah.
And from what I read, I saw that your character was actually created for you by Bob Guza because you had come in a few times, I guess, for other things. And he just loved you so much that he decided to write this character.
I had tested for Summer, the hooker with the heart of gold, that went to the lovely Brittany, and was very disappointed because when you test, you have signed the contract. Like whenever they actually do a screen test, they're down to their final 3, 5, maximum I would think 7, because they've negotiated the contracts with the agents, and you have to sign on the dotted line before you go in there for your final audition. So the producers have all the power at that point. So I tested. So I knew that I was one of the finalists. I knew that it was between me and only a few other people, and I knew how much money I would be making the next day if they picked me. That's when it gets crazy. That's when you go, it's not about the money. I'm not doing this for money, but it is my livelihood. So then you go, my Lord, they're going to give me that? Holy crow. So you do get a tad excited. You try to keep it out of your mind. But, I was really, really disappointed. And then they called and said, we want you on the show, and we're going to create a character for you. They didn't even tell me what it was. They didn't give me any clue as to what it was. I was, so excited. I was like, great, that's so fabulous. Thank you so much. I just felt like my life had changed, which it had. They changed my life. So I was pretty surprised when they had me be a mob boss, a psycho killer. I don't know where that came from. No, actually, I do. I think there was a moment in my test with Tony Geary where I turned on him and I felt something so strong and so vehemently, and his character had been accusing me of taking the easy way out or playing it safe. Mm-hmm. And I turned on him, and I felt it very deeply. I said something like, how dare you judge me for that? If I want to play it safe, it's my business. And I startled him, the look on his face, and I think it might have been the strength in my vehement retort that made them go, oh, I'm going to write something strong for this girl.
Yeah.
And we'd have to ask Bob, of course, if that was the truth. But that was the moment that I remember standing out. First of all, I'm in awe of Tony Geary, and I'm trying to just stay out of my head and stay in my heart and respond instinctively and not think. Because that's my training. It's Meisner training. You don't get in your head. If you get in your head, throw your attention back on the other person. Don't worry about it. Just throw your attention back on the other person. And really, I'm not responsible for my performance. The other person is.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, when you were playing Faith, and being the character that Faith was, what kind of mental preparation did you have to do, or did you do any to play that role?
It's actually really interesting to me. Sorry, it's boring to anybody else. When I first started, I was so excited. I was so euphoric, and I was thinking to myself, how am I going to, stop smiling? I'm just so excited to be here. This is so much fun. And I had this scene where I had to walk down this huge staircase, and I think I come face to face with Tamara Braun, and I thought, I have to get scary and menacing. And then I thought to myself, oh, no, the most important thing that I learned that I took from my acting course was not to stuff your emotions. Doesn't matter if the scene calls for you to weep. If you want to laugh, go ahead and laugh. Don't hide it. If the scene calls for you to laugh and you want to cry, go ahead and cry. Like, the pure emotion that you feel, if you let it show, will punch through that TV screen. You have to be
It's better than faking it, right?
Don't fake anything. Don't hide anything. Don't stuff anything just because it's not scripted. So I'm standing at the top of the stairs waiting to walk down to the esteemed Miss Braun. And I remembered this lesson. And so I went down and I played the scene smiling, thinking, okay, how do I use that for this character? This character loves to walk up and, figuratively speaking, of course, with her words, stick the knife in and watch it turn and look you right in the eye and smile and love every second of it. That is how the flavor of Faith was born, that I just was having so much fun that Faith just relished every moment of it. And so they started writing me funnier lines because I was always smiling and enjoying myself. And so, Tony Geary always had the greatest lines. He's so brilliant.
Oh, definitely.
But the writing, he ad-libs a lot. Not that the writing's not brilliant for him, too, but he is just, incredible. And I loved it when the soap magazines would print up, the funny lines from the week, and I would get in there. I think I was, behind Tony, of course, but I got in there a lot because they started making me really funny. So I got all these fabulous, snarky one-liners and little zingers, and oh my gosh, it was so much fun the way they wrote for me.
I know. And you know what? I just picture in my head, anytime I think of your character, and of course all of the different scenes go through my mind, but one of the most outstanding was at the church with the shootout and the kids being kidnapped and just seeing Jason with his guns blazing and thinking, oh my God, is he really going to get her? And just, that was such an intense scene. But at the same time, even though we loved to hate your character, you kind of hated to see her go.
Yeah,
and
sort of like
wanted at the same time yelling, shoot her,
Yes, no, I understand. Oh, they were incredible scenes to shoot, and I loved doing the stunt work. They always had a stunt girl there for me for the, really big falls and getting shot and stuff like that. But I would beg them to let me do it. Because I was so proud when, I got shot on the docks one time, and you have the discussion with the stunt coordinator as to, okay, the bullet has hit me in the left shoulder, so the trajectory of the bullet is this, and I would go around like this. And, of course, Faith, I'm wearing all black and black stockings and all of this. And I was so proud of myself after I did the shot because I'd flung my body around and not put my hands out and not broken my fall. So my stockings were ripped, my knees were bleeding, and I get up after the scene and everybody's like rushing to get, medic. And I'm like, look, I didn't break my fall. Like, I was so proud. I was so excited. I was, who cares if my knees are bleeding? Sorry, guys, about the stockings. But look, I didn't break my fall. Because I love to do it. So during that scene that you're mentioning in the church, there was a big fall, and I'm like, look, let me do it. And they kept saying, no, absolutely not. If you get hurt, we're in big trouble. Mm-hmm. And I said, I won't get hurt. Let me do the fall, because if you let me do it, you can shoot it with the stunt girl anyway. But if I do the fall and I do it well, then you can use the whole shot with my face in it, and then it's going to be more moving to the audience. Then with the stunt girl, you have to shoot from a certain angle, and you've got to make sure that you don't see her face clearly. And so I remember, they said, no, I couldn't do it, and I did it anyway because it's just like, I hope they don't stop her. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, one thing I've always been curious about is how in the world do soap opera, actors and actresses on soap operas, how do they cry on command? I mean, what do you have to do to prepare yourself to cry? Do you think about something really sad that's happened in your real life, or what do you sniff onions? I mean, what happens there?
Well, first of all, I've never seen anybody cry literally on command, like cry now, go ahead, and the tears come up. But if you give actors who are emotional, who have free access to their emotions, if you give them a couple of minutes, I believe it is a case of concentration. There are people who can concentrate really, really strongly and sort of block out the world and go into their mind and their imagination. Now, the first thing you start with is the script, is what's going on with the character. Hopefully it's well written enough, strong enough that it moves you to that place. So it's really just about concentrating and blocking the rest of the world out. And then, like anything else, everything gets a bit stale if you're shooting for a long time. If you have to cry for 9 hours for one scene, which of course isn't the way they work on the soap, but you will have to cry for 9 hours for 9 scenes. But in a movie, you'll have to cry for 9 hours. One of my jobs recently, I had to do exactly that. It was 9 hours to shoot one scene, and I had to be crying. So, first you just start with the characters, what they're going through in the story, and then maybe sometimes you have to bring in something else from your own experience that relates to it. And then that gets a little dry, and you have to add a little something else. So you keep digging and digging and digging and mining your personal experiences to add to what the character's going through. I think it's really, really lame, and it's only me, and it's probably bad of me to say this, but it's really lame to go right outside the character, like if you have to cry and you just think about, your dog being sick, and it's so separated. I wonder if that doesn't separate it for the audience, invested in what's going on with your character, but that's just a guess. Because I've seen people cry on screen and looked at it and gone, why are they not moving me? I'm in a movie theater. I can see that they're really crying. I don't think they just blew menthol in their eyes because their eyes aren't really red. I think that person's really crying. Why is it not moving me? And I wonder if it's because they're going too far from the story to find the tears.
That's true.
Just a guess. I don't know.
And some people fake cry, and it can be believable, where there's no tears. But some of them, it's just too cheesy, and you even wonder why they even bothered to do that.
Yeah, it's, I think they feel the pressure of it scripted to do it, or maybe they have directors and producers standing there going, if you can't make it happen for real, you just fake it. But that's really, again, just my opinion, really bad acting. It goes back to not stuffing your feelings. Like, go with what's really going on. Because if you're having incredible